Hello everybody, my name is Tamara Graywall. For the final paper, I discussed a syndemic of depression driven by alcohol and drug abuse and the loss of Yupik cultural identity in rural communities of Southwest Alaska. My motivation to focus on the Southwest region of Alaska came from living in a rural community in Bristol Bay. I have experienced some aspects of my discussion personally, and so I felt this was a great opportunity to discuss the outcomes of what losing cultural identity can have on a rural community. I'd like to briefly discuss what syndemic suffrage is. An anthropologist by the name of Emily Mendenhall notes that syndemic suffering is to conceptualize the intersection of multiple epidemics, including both disease and epidemic social problems, and to consider how social and psychological factors synergistically interact with physical health. In regard to my discussion, a loss of cultural identity along with substance abuse is the outcome of depression, and without truly eliminating the adverse interactions, the depression will never truly be cured. I concentrated on both adults and children because youth learn from adults, not just in life and educational skills, but how to interact in society and amongst other adults as well. Moreover, in terms of a traditional rural community, every community member has a way of contributing to their community's survival. But in modern times, where surviving is a given due to things like grocery stores and modern employment to support immediate family rather than a community, a sense of cultural loss occurs as people forget what real communities stand for. Rural communities do not have malls, movie theaters, bowling alleys, or an abundance of parks, swimming pools, or gyms, things that entertain people positively. So when there isn't a need to constantly be doing something to keep a rural community up and running, more or less using cultural ways of living, there can be a sense of nothingness and boredom, and adults begin abusing drugs and alcohol because it's the only thing to do. A cycle is born where children start to learn less of their culture and begin mimicking the behavior of the adults around them, so much so that children are suffering from substance abuse and depression at young ages. Through research and interviews of individuals who live in rural communities of Southwest Alaska, I argue that creating more approachable means of obtaining sobriety alongside cultural support would greatly impact the fight to prevent this syndemic. One of my interviewees from Naknek, Alaska, discusses how getting sober in her community can be difficult because there are no AA or NA meetings available in her village. She then noted that there are more bars than restaurants. It can be disheartening knowing that there are more bars in a small community than there are restaurants, where families could be spending dinners together. I think it's eye-opening for us to realize that this is a problem. In another interview, I spoke with an elder from Dillingham, Alaska, who talked about how her peers felt embarrassed to tell one another that the youth in their family aren't learning their culture because they're too addicted to drugs and alcohol. The Yupik culture is so beautiful, and its traditions and values carry significantly positive attributes. And so I think reconnecting with culture could be a great way to support sobriety for those who are suffering from substance abuse. Furthermore, if children see the positivity of culture and see adults actively being enriched in their community's culture, this may stop the cycle of children becoming users at young ages, which can prevent depression, and more importantly, it will support the longevity of a culture striving to hang on in our modern world. Thank you for your time. This has been a great class, and I can't wait to see what everyone else has chosen to discuss.